and one of the most simplest things that you can do to improve your movement straight away. And I see this all the time in the gym as a trainer. I even see other PTs doing it and they're not telling their clients, and it's super simple. And that is... So welcome back to another vlog. And let's talk about how to grow your legs. Well, I'm gonna give you 4 main points because I wanna keep it simple, I wanna keep it short, I wanna keep it to the juice, the good stuff for you guys. So with that, let's get into it. So my first point for you is frequency. And the reason being is most people just don't train their legs often enough. If you only train your legs once a week, and you did train them once every week for 52 weeks in a normal year, that's only 52 times. Imagine training them 2 to 3 times, but spreading that volume. You can't just annihilate your legs, or any muscle for that matter, once a week. I've talked about this in my other videos, so frequency is key. If you're a 1 week, 1 day a leg person, you're trying to maximize your leg growth for hypertrophy, and you're not a sport-specific athlete, you should be training them more. And again, you want to spread the volume, so you're not annihilating or killing yourself on just 1 session, but you're able to do 2, even 3 sessions a week, spread that volume, open the anabolic window up, and actually grow these leggies. Intensity. Now, before we train hard, we must train smart. And once again, this is probably a nuanced area where a lot of people get it wrong. I see a lot of people in the gym, guys more so training too hard, not training smart enough. Girls not training smart or hard to a degree and just doing a whole lot of minutia. This is just a generalization. I'm not having a go at anyone. This is just what I see. These are the mistakes that I most commonly encounter within the gym. So when it comes to training legs, a lot of people, apart from women, because they generally want legs, that's one of their best features, so they're going to train them more often. If anything, too much, with not enough intensity, with not enough actual specific training on the things that they should be doing, which give them the most return on investment. So for example, they'll be doing a lot of cable stuff, but they're not really putting a lot of mechanical tension on the muscle. So the compounds, they might be skipping out on, they're not training them heavy. They're afraid that if they do these lower rep ranges and heavier loads that they're gonna get really big and bulky, which is not the case, which we will dive into on many other videos, which we have before, and upcoming podcasts, spoiler alert. But a lot of the time, you just gotta train damn hard. Once you're training smart, once your technique's down, once you've got your programming, once you find out what you can do safely, what you can progress on, you've got to be taking it to the house, right? When you are under the bar, on a machine, etc., you've got to be training close to failure. There should be a method to that. When you're training with your programming, you should have weeks that are a little bit easier, intro weeks, build weeks, attack weeks, taper weeks, deloads, etc. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you really want to build your physique, you should understand these things, and you can click in the links below and find out more when I talk about those, or in my academy. Shameless plug, because if you're not doing these things, you can train as hard as you want, but if you're not training with some sort of specific order of priority, with a goal, you're not measuring anything, okay? You don't know that you're progressing. At some point, you need some metrics, okay? You need to be able to train hard enough, but you need to be able to know that you're progressing over time, not just throwing shit at a wall and seeing what will stick. The next point I want to make is compounds versus isolation exercises. And the reason being is most people that aren't growing their legs are just sitting down doing a lot of isolation exercises. So for example, leg extensions, leg curls, seated leg variations, even leg presses, which are good. And these are all good done in the right context. But a lot of the time we're missing the bigger strength-based movements like the squat variations, the deadlift variations, etc. Now, a lot of people can't do these movements, but most people can. And if you learn to do them correctly, and you do actually implement them with quality form, you will be able to accumulate a lot more volume, and you'll be able to put a lot more stress and volume through the legs, which means you're more likely to cause growth over time. And the reason why a lot of people fear these compound exercises is because they're associated with injury. However, they're also associated with strengthening and building the most muscle lean tissue that you can. The problem is they get a bad rap from people doing them wrong, and then people say, oh, it hurt my back, I can't do this, it doesn't feel good, where they're not actually performing these movements correctly because they've never been shown. So a lot of the time, the devil's in the details. I talk about this a lot, guys. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. So again, getting a good strength coach, learning how to do these movements properly, perform them correctly with your biomechanics. It's not magic, but a few little tweaks can go a long way. And incorporating those through the days that you train, having them as the priority at the start of your leg days is gonna allow you to create the demand for more growth, more volume, and again, that means more gains to grow your legs. Get rid of wearing something like this when you're doing squatting, deadlifting, or your big compound movements. Nothing wrong with them for upper body day or other movements or walking around, but when we're training, we want a flat, stable shoe. This is elevated, okay? It's squishy, it's unstable, it's unsafe. Get rid of it. What you want is something like this. Flat. Ah, yes, the mighty Converse. It doesn't have to be a Converse, it just needs to be flat and stable, okay? So you can obviously get lifters as well, like the squatting shoes you'll see in my videos here, but you don't necessarily need those. People think you do. They're for stability. They also give you a different angle on the lift. So sometimes if you've got really weak ankle mobility, it's really good. Or if you're in Olympic lifting, it puts you and elevates you so you can really sit back into those heels. So they are for a few other different reasons. If you guys want to check out that, I've done a few reviews on my channel of some of the Romalios and some of the lifting shoes. So I'll put a link somewhere to that if I figured it out. If not, I'll put it at the end of the video so you guys can go watch it. But seriously, if you can't do that, take your shoes off, okay? Flat, be safe. If you want a flat surface or you want a flat shoe, you can get them for $4 or $5 from Kmart, any of those cheap stores. Big W, whatever it is, wherever you are in the world, you know what I mean. The cheap stores, you can go in there, you can just get them. They're just for the gym, they're flat, you're not running in them. That's a different story. That's when you would want cushioning and support, but it will change your lifts massively. So simple, straight away, you can get the benefits from that and you'll be able to push better weight with better form, and you can actually transfer that weight into the resistance, which is what you want to do. So that leads me on to my next point and how appropriate that we should be in a gym when we talk about this. So with this beautiful backdrop right here, because look, it would be rude not to get that in. Let's talk about skill acquisition, because a lot of the time it's the form that's letting people down. They are bouncing deadlifts, okay? They are squatting, okay, and bouncing off the bottom. They are using their joints, their ligaments instead of their muscles. And they are letting the weight manipulate them instead of manipulating the weight. So a lot of the time, again, these things can be rectified by simply getting better form. I talk about it a lot, I talk about it all the time, because it's one of the most underrated factors of training and also growing your muscles. So if you want to grow your legs, learn how to manipulate those muscles, learn what ranges of motion the muscles work through, what muscles are responsible for manipulating what movements. And it's not rocket science, guys, it's just simple basic things. Can you feel it in those muscle groups when you or after you have trained, especially in the big compound movements, as they're a bit more neurological in nature, and sometimes you won't always just feel them in the muscles as commonly or as acutely as you would when you're doing an isolation exercise. So again, learn good form, avoid injury, and maximize your success in the gym. I use a basic example with my clients. If it was as easy as just doing the movements in the gym, right? Then why isn't everybody jacked? Literally, if it was that easy, everyone would be jacked, right? Because they would go in, nutrition and sleep aside, they would do these machines or they would do the movements and they would grow the muscle. But a lot of people are doing the movements and they're not actually getting the most out of their muscles. They're just not doing it because they're not understanding how to manipulate their body through space and time and actually load the muscles instead of just loading the joints or bouncing and moving the weight and not actually putting it through the muscles and just using momentum. So there it is. Skill acquisition and form is key. So intensity. Most guys are just not training their legs hard enough because, hey, you know, they're too busy looking at the mirror muscles, the chest, the biceps. So a lot of muscle groups are lagging. And if they were honest, you know, do you train your legs as hard as you train your favorite muscle group, your chest, your arms, your shoulders, whatever it is? Probably not. Do you train it as frequently? Probably not. So if you train your legs like you train your favorite muscle group, if you train them with the same intensity, I guarantee they will grow. And if you add in the tips that I've talked about in this episode, we go over some of those key points, right? If you add these in, I am confident you will start to see growth in your legs. It will take time, like a lot of good things do, but you can track it, you can measure it, you can take pictures, etc. You can measure performance as well, and you will see a growth. So guys, it's not magic. Yes, some people are more genetically gifted, but I hear the excuse all the time, my legs just won't grow. I know why. You're not training them hard enough, you're not training them frequently enough, and your form is absolutely shithouse. So those are the main things there to consider. Guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. If you like the video, remember to give it a like, subscribe, share it with someone who needs to hear this, who's not been training legs and has been skipping out. And of course, subscribe for more videos every week. Hit that bell icon so you get notifications. And until next week, in the meantime, stay fearless.